All right, good afternoon and welcome to the Interop ITX Theater. My name is John Leitch. I am the President and CEO of Winquest Engineering Corporation and Winquest Cybersecurity Division. Today we're going to be talking about shock and awe at the hackers Rubicon, and I think you'll enjoy it. So, in 49 BC, the Roman Senate had a problem. They had an advanced persistent threat on their perimeter and didn't know what to do. Julius Caesar had marched his legions south to the Rubicon River and stopped. He stopped because Roman law forbade any general from bringing his troops across the Rubicon. To do so was a capital offense. It was also a capital offense for any soldier that followed the general over the Rubicon. So Caesar stopped to contemplate his next move. Meanwhile, the Roman Senate began debating about what they should do. And I imagine the conversation went something like this. There were certainly senators who said, "It's against Roman law, he won't cross." Or, "It's never happened to us before." Or even, "What do we have that he would want?" Well, the bottom line is the Roman Senate debated, did not take the threat seriously, made assumptions, and it resulted in disaster for them, as we know from history. The shocking results of not taking a threat seriously are just as serious now as they were 2,000 years ago. So let's fast forward to today's business, and let's talk about what's going on out there today. So most businesses still do not believe they will be the victim of a targeted cyber attack. It's a dangerous assumption, but the assumptions should sound familiar by now. Oh, the law is there to protect us. It's not going to happen. It's never happened before. Or we don't have anything anybody would want. But those are dangerous assumptions, and they can be related to some actual business cases. For example, we had a business that was hit with ransomware. The business decided to not pay the ransom. They refused, but unfortunately, they did not have their data backed up. It took them 23 days of painstaking effort to rebuild their system. The lesson learned there is just because it hasn't happened before doesn't mean it won't happen to you. There's another case that's even more interesting, and it happened against a target that you would least likely suspect. There's an Amish and Mennonite dairy co-op in Western Maryland that got hit with a cyber attack. The attack sourced from China, and it shut down their manufacturing facility and their headquarters. They were also the victims of a fraudulent phishing email that resulted in a loss of $55,000 through a fraudulent wire transfer. The lesson learned there is, what did that business have that anyone would want? Well, in this case, $55,000, and who knows what else. Cybercrime is the new battlefield, and businesses assuming that it won't happen to them, well, the cyber criminals are crossing that Rubicon repeatedly and with impunity. Now, North Korea, Russia, China, and other nation states are all spending billions to develop cyber capabilities to damage our nation's economic infrastructure. The United States is spending billions of dollars to defend that infrastructure. Just outside of Winquest headquarters, we have the Defense Information Systems Agency, the National Security Agency, and the United States Cyber Command devoting thousands of civilian and military personnel to mitigate this risk. The threat is real. Now, on the business side, Facebook, Equifax, Target, other large businesses have all been in the cybersecurity hot seat. But the greatest weakness to our economy are the small businesses. A vast majority of the breaches that happen to small businesses. Even worse, most of those small businesses do not have their customer or their company information backed up. What that means, our information is out there. We're vulnerable to identity theft. The bottom line is, the vulnerabilities on Wall Street pale in comparison to the vulnerabilities on Main Street. As a U.S. Army officer assigned and my duty to protect the nation, when we started Winquest Cybersecurity, we expanded that mission to protect our nation's businesses as well. And I can tell you that the need is certainly there. Because over the years, we've discovered that most businesses are vulnerable to even the most simple of cyber attacks. The reasons for that are varied. But first and foremost, it's because businesses don't have an affordable service that they can turn to help them fight cybercrime. The second reason is disturbing because it follows the same path of it won't happen to us, or we're too small, we don't have anything anybody would want. All things that we've heard before for 2,000 years. My favorite one is actually an assessment that we did, and it's a quote from the CEO. We did an assessment for a very large manufacturer retailer, and we found malware on their industrial control system on their production floor. And when the CEO was briefed about this, and we told him that it was probably beaconing out all of his production information and everything that was on that system, he said, quote, "I'm not concerned about that," unquote. All right, look, it's one thing to let the hackers cross the Rubicon. It's another thing to build them a bridge so they won't get their feet wet. And the cyber criminals send out millions of phishing, malware, ransomware, emails, and it's a very wide net, and they collect a lot of victims. These attacks, these emails look like they're from the IRS, or from your bank, or maybe from your CEO. But the bottom line is they're effective, and their whole intent is to steal as much money as they can from your business and from you. And the cyber criminals don't discriminate. They don't care, and they certainly don't care whether you make your mortgage payment, or whether you can fund your child's education, or whether you have enough money to take a vacation, or they don't care about your life savings. The bottom line is this cybercrime makes it personal. Now, Winquest Cybersecurity is in the trenches with our clients to fight cybercrime. We offer affordable and practical services in the form of something called a CAVA, a Cybersecurity Abbreviated Vulnerability Assessment, CAVA. It's a very affordable assessment that any going business can afford, and it gives them a good start point to understanding what their risks are for cybersecurity and how to mitigate them. One of the problems we faced was travel expenses. Small businesses, or any business, quite frankly, travel expenses can be concerning. So we created something called the Centra. The Centra is a remote monitoring capability that, should the travel costs be prohibitive for a business, we'll send the Centra ahead. They'll plug the Centra in, grant us remote access to allow us to do our assessments remotely, thereby saving a lot of cost. Now, they don't get the physical security assessment, they don't get the insider threat assessment, but at least they get something to get started. Now, in addition to individual businesses, we are now partnering nationwide with managed service providers. And so I'm very pleased to announce formally today a new service that we offer called Winquest CyberWare. Winquest CyberWare is exclusive to partner MSPs, and it provides military-grade expertise and tools in the form of assessments, penetration testing, incident response, consulting, and training to a managed service provider who may not have enough cybersecurity expertise on staff. Yet, we know their clients are all asking for it. Basically, it's like we're a team of special operations forces working behind the scenes with your clients, but we're white labeled to you. So we look like you to them. And what that does is that doesn't impact on your brand, and it does not interfere with the traditional client-provider relationship. But probably the most important thing from a managed service provider perspective, it also affords an additional revenue stream, because we're going to work out our rates and our prices with you, and then Obviously, you're going to work out your prices with your clients. Winquest Cyberware breaks the traditional mold of referral and partnership models and maximizes our cybersecurity reach so that as a team, we can provide more quality cybersecurity services to our clients. It's revolutionary, and it reminds me that during the Revolutionary War, the 13 colonies used different tactics and a completely different strategy to defeat a numerically and firepower superior British army. We're doing something very similar by breaking the mold of the traditional methods and rolling out Winquest Cyberware. Cybercrime is the new battlefield, and Winquest is on the front line to protect your clients and work with you. With working with an awesome IT community, we can make the hackers regret crossing the Rubicon. Thank you very much.